Hello, everybody. We hope that you liked our trailer. Hope it brought some energy back into the room after the lunch break. I think that's always necessary. Dennis and I today, we are going to talk about how Agentic AI will transform customer experience at Sky. And already from the subtitle that you can see, which reads from cost reduction to emotional engagement, you will see that actually the main benefit that we expect from Agentic AI is not so much further cost reductions, but more engagement of our customers. Now, to properly explain the rationale of what we are doing, we think it is necessary that you understand the context in which we operate. And this context consists of two things. One is just our business model and also the role that customer service plays within it. And the second one is our journey in customer service and where we are today. So I'm going to cover this first part and then hand over to Dennis, who will talk about Agentic AI and how this will help us to continue to transform. Let's start with our business model. So clearly, we are not a bank or a telco, we are entertainment. And that also changes the way we think about customer experience, about our customer service, and how we want to use the roughly 20 million interactions that is assisted and online that we have with our customers each year. The second one is, it's always important to focus on what is the most important thing for our customers, which is not customer service. They buy not Sky because of great hardware, they buy Sky because of our content. So content for us is always first, and that's something to keep in mind also for customer service. But this content also needs to be consumed by our customers. And because it is the consumption which in the end drives engagement, the engagement creates the emotional stickiness, and this is what in the end reduces churn. And the churn rate for every pay TV operator in the world is the most important KPI which defines business success. So keeping all this in mind, it is clear that also for us in customer service, we need to keep this in mind and make sure that we help not only to answer our customers' questions, which is the absolute must-have, but go beyond this and engage our customers. So we've covered the first one, which is business model. Now let's move to the second bit, which is where we are in service and what brought us here. And actually, at Sky Germany, for the last years, actually since 2020, we've been in a quite big transformation. We started this transformation in 2020, and we think of it as a transformation in 3 acts. The first act gets the headline, Rebuild Trust. So let me explain this. I don't know, probably some of you have been Sky customers back then already, and I can tell you that Sky was not exactly known for great customer service. So we gave our customers way too many reasons, unpleasant reasons, to get in touch with us. So that was broken processes, technical problems, or any ambiguous or communication, ambiguous trading rules that we've applied. We were hard to reach for our customers, so they got frustrated until they were able to reach an advisor. And third, when they talked to an advisor, they were not happy with the experience, which we could clearly tell by the NPS numbers, right? We wanted to change this, and that's what we set out in early 2020. Now, doing this in the first phase of the transformation, which lasted more or less until 2022, we focused on 3 things. The first one is what we called Fix the Basics. And this was really a cross-company initiative, which was led by my team, where we gradually removed all of the bad reasons why customers got in touch with us. So we worked on our reliability, we worked on our commercial offering, so we removed a lot of these unpleasant reasons for customers to get in touch. The second one is that we really adopted a digital-first mindset. So that means that for every customer intent, we apart from obviously talking to an advisor, we created an online journey where customers could help themselves, and we advertised these. And then the third element, which basically was the biggest change, I think, for our customers, is that we heavily invested in service in our advisors. So we introduced better staffing. We implemented clear success factors for our advisors, introduced bonus schemes for them, invested in coaching. So nothing really fancy, just bread and butter customer service business, but it was very effective. And here we showed the results. So actually, in this 3-year time period, we reduced the number of customer contacts handled by advisors by 42%. We increased the digital self-care rate by 13%, and we make a big step change in NPS from negatives to the mid-40s. So that's an uplift of 50 points. And that, by the way, also towards the end of 2022, that was then the time when I was invited to a barbecue party, that I disclosed that I worked for Sky, because not every time I got like 10 customer requests where I should take care of. So that also made my life a bit easier. Now, no, that was the wrong direction. So the second act of our transformation was then what we called industrial customer experience, which is another word for make customer service much more efficient, much cheaper, but keeping the performance at the same level. So here, because we like plans with 3, we focused on 3 things. We further reduced avoidable contacts. Second one, we did a lot to drive up self-care usage. So this time we not created the stories, we improved them a bit, but we pushed our customers gently towards self-care. And we advertised self-care, and we removed barriers like login barriers, and that helped us a lot there. What was new in this phase, really new, was that we also started focusing much on our cost per contact. So we made our own customer service centers much more efficient. We consolidated our partners, and we used labor cost arbitrage by moving a lot of our volume from Germany to nearshore, and then from nearshore to farshore. So today, as a side note, we do roughly 30% of our business in India. The results of this are quite remarkable, I think. So we reached our objective to keep performance at a stable level. We further reduced the amount of contacts done by customers by 33%, and we reduced the cost per contact by 23% until the end of 2025. So if you add up the numbers and do the math of the 2 latest ones, basically we took out half of the cost of our service without compromising on quality. Now, to be honest, we are quite happy with what we've achieved, and we're also proud of it. It was a number of years, but a relatively short time frame, because we've reached a couple of milestones. So now our service is much better than it used to be. It is way more digital and is much more efficient. But there's also some important limitations. And the limitations is that when you take out so many contacts, we also remove moments for us to shine, moments to convince our customers about our products, to educate them. Also, the efficiency drivers, at some point they get saturated, right? So there is no more we can do, really. It's getting harder and harder. And then also our setup today, to be self-critical, was all the automation and farshoring that we've done. It's really good to drive efficiency, but before I was talking about engagement, and that's really hard to drive engagement with such a setup. And actually, and this is what we set out to do, right? We don't only want to give good customer service, but also drive engagement, drive loyalty of our customers. And this is where basically we now enter the third phase of our transformation, which will be driven by Agentic AI, and that Dennis will talk you through.
Thank you very much. Thanks very much, Christian, for the first part. Let me say it's really an honor to be on this beautiful stage here and to talk about the next phase or the next act that is now ahead of us. Actually, we call it to scale emotion with Agentic AI. And this might sound odd or bold to you, maybe the two things that come to your mind. And I will go into it in a minute. And we are very proud that we are now moving into this new phase based on what Christian said earlier. Before I go into details, one important explanation of what brought us here, a lot of what Christian said, this core mandate and these core aspects of our journey so far, they will remain intact. So whatever we do now will not replace the logic that brought us here. It will come on top. And to quickly guide through it again, it's an excellent handling of inbound and outbound interactions. So that's the core mandate of customer operations. Everything that goes in the area of resilience, reliability, quality, compliance, and topics like that, they will remain valid as they were. They will be in the future. Cost efficiency, already said, and to be a stable and a trusted partner when it comes to contacts with customers. So this will remain intact. That's important to say and important for us to build the basis, because what we do now will be four actually value drivers that now come on top. And the first one is, we call it a perfect, again, a very bold word, a perfect intent and sentiment detection. We think that every customer interaction needs to have this. And this is the basis of any good customer interaction. If you get the customer wrong, then everything that comes later will not be a good contact and will not be a good interaction. So that's why we think that using data and the capabilities that Agentic AI will deliver, that this is the basis for a change in customer interactions that will really make a difference for us and for our customers. It allows us to go into a much higher level of segmentation. Because with data that we have, let's say historic contact details, maybe the sentiment, we get into a position that we can more individually say, with this customer request, we go that way. Here we go into a digital solution. Here we take a human to support. Customer closeness is a very important topic for us, and this is the enabler for everything that comes now. Because based on this first element, the second one is, of course, AI containment, or a little bit broader, digital containment. So, of course, there is a long list of intents where customers do not exactly need a human assistance to get this topic solved. Let's say the change of a bank account number. You don't want this to deal with a human and to tell an IBAN number on the phone. No one wants this. So there is enough room to drive up digitalization. But this is only one aspect, because the third one is actually to create new valuable interactions. And for those of you who were here more or less 2 hours before, when this panel discussion was here, this colleague from Deloitte, I guess, touched this a little bit from my understanding. And it's great to create a link here, because we think that Agentic AI enables us to create new contacts, let's say human contacts, that we missed in the past. And I think we think that this is a real value for customers, and this makes a real difference. Because if you imagine someone being upset, I don't know, something went wrong in the past, and is now contacting us for a new payment method, I think this is a moment where we can use Agentic AI and the integration of data to act differently compared to some static deflection rules that were in place in the past. Because it's then right to go into a more human interaction and to solve a problem and to make the customer aware that we're identifying this. And this is one of the topics that we see is evolving now, and it becomes possible now. The fourth element is to turn service moments into engagement moments. Linking to what Christian said before at the very beginning, customers buy Sky because of the content and not because of anything else. And with all the millions of interactions we have with our customers, this should be a part of every interaction. So again, using agentic AI and the capabilities that come hand in hand, we think that this is now the moment to put our product and our content first into the spotlight and to make this a targeted topic in any conversation. This is what we have in mind, and this is what we envision now for the next phase of our evolution. And to make it a bit more tangible, we have this slideshow demonstration here, and I will quickly guide through it. Obviously, this is a chat. I'm Oscar, how can I help you? And you see the customer is saying, I'm moving from Hamburg to Cologne. What do I need to do now? It's annoying me. So I think any one of you would say, here's an issue, this customer is not happy. And this alone might already indicate for us that this is a certain moment where we need to be wide in our options how to solve this. Maybe a human support is needed. First thing is the intent is recognized. So that's the basis to assure the customer that the criticality and the urgency of the situation is understood. We think that's important for us and gives the customer a feeling that they are right in this channel with their intent. You will get a solution here. So context awareness means in the final state, we plan to use any data available. Maybe there was a contact already yesterday in another channel, so to enlarge this to any data that we might have to actually find the situation and to use it for anything that comes after. The intent is perfectly understood. That's also part of the basic work, let's say, so it's directly moving into the solutioning. That's also a key element. And what comes now is actually I would say, the heart of the conversation. It now leaves it open for the customer to either do it on themselves digitally, let's say AI contained within the conversation, or we move into a self-care journey, or we leave it open to the customer to say, no guys, I don't want to be deflected into digital, let's phrase it like this, but I want someone to call me tomorrow, or I want help now, can someone please solve this for me? So leaving this open in a situation like this makes really a difference for us in dealing with customers, and we think that with this type of interaction, there's a real value for customers to say, I am understood, and there's always a help for me, no matter what the exact solution is. Let's imagine this customer is now happy, no escalation to an agent. Then the fourth element would be to say, actually, okay, good to hear. I don't know, in this case, recently we recommended the rookie to you, maybe via a campaign or via another interaction, or maybe on the website, whatsoever. So we know that we spoke about the rookie with this customer, and we now ask, did you already find the time to actually try it out? And this is where we think that it's not a watering can approach to just bring our content randomly to customers, but it's more targeted. And again, Agentic AI allows us to have conversations like these in the future. If you now take this one interaction, this is just one, and if we take this and imagine, like Christian said, we have millions of interactions per year, then obviously millions of interactions become opportunities to drive consumption and to bring our customers closer to what they bought Sky for. And we as customer operations think that this is a central part of the next phase of our evolution and of our transformation to actually get much closer to what customers buy and what customers love. And this is why, as a title, to scale up emotion, we think that Agentic AI really is now the enabler for us to move into this direction. If you think of existing interactions, two more really short examples. You might think that a customer calls us because of a broken remote control, whatsoever, any kind of reason, and then based on this existing interaction, within the conversation we identify that we have a sports fan here, then obviously we promote the next match, and then obviously our idea is that the customer gets hooked, consumes more, and the basic interaction just about the remote control is transformed into a product-focused interaction. Another example would be someone calls us because of a billing inquiry. Then we see that there's some binge-watching activity visible for us in the data. And we see, because it was the Ochsenknechts, we then promote the spin-off series accordingly. And the same effect comes into place. This is what we now described is our plan for the next phase. Plan sounds far away. Actually, the first version of this will be launching next week. So in the last more or less 3 months, we were building this together with Cognigy, and we will launch in Austria with a first version of this next week, the week after in Germany, and a month later in Voice. This is our plan now for the next few weeks. And from my experience at Sky, I can say that this is the most exciting launch we have for us internally and for our customers. And we are very much excited to see how customers will react. Will they like it? What will they say? Will they behave differently? That's really the key topic now. So before I hand over to Christian, one last topic. Obviously, there's some homework for you to be done. For all of you who may be a Sky customer already, please watch The Rookie, because it's a great series, and maybe in a year's time, let's see, I will ask you how you liked it. So that's my homework to you. And obviously for everyone of you who is not a Sky customer yet, you know your homework as well. So thanks for listening, and back to Christian.
Yeah. Thanks, Dennis, and thanks for emphasizing also that Sky is not only Bundesliga, it's not only soccer, but much more. Look, let me quickly sum up. So I think that Dennis explained really well how interaction will become opportunities for us to drive consumption. So we are going to move from solving issues only to stimulating usage. We are not going to only provide reactive service, but in the context of the customers, provide inspiration, use these opportunities, and from a pure cost driver, we will develop to content engagement multipliers, because these interactions are really opportunities for us. Now, what this means in the end is that interactions become part of the entertainment experience, and this means that we don't need to longer focus on avoiding context as we are making these interactions with customers more meaningful. So Agentic AI really allows us to scale emotion. And with this, we are at the end of the presentation, and we have not much time anymore, but some time for Q&A. Thank you.